So big announcement. Islam Makhachev has vacated his lightweight title. It looks like the UFC's done with double champ stuff, which is great. A great direction for the UFC. I think double champs should be like a very special kind of fight. Similar to when they wanted to do Anderson Silva versus Georges St. Pierre. When two fighters have become like all-time greats, have beaten practically everybody there is, went on historic runs. Those are the kind of champ fights that they should return to. They did do BJ Penn versus Georges St. Pierre back then, but I think it should be similar to when they want to do Anderson versus GSP. So like imagine if Merab and Pantoja both get like 7 title defenses. They're undoubtedly the greatest in their weight classes. They've beaten everybody, maybe a few multiple times, and then they fight each other because it's the only fight the fans would want to see at that point. That's when champ fights should be a thing. But this like defending the title a few times, I thought maybe defending the title 3 times and then moving up is a requirement, but at this point, it's still just too much. There's too many fighters and champions that want to do it. And if Islam Makhachev has to vacate his title to move up, that means there's no champion that's able to do it right now because he is the longest reigning champion currently. He has the most title defenses. And it's interesting because he said that he will not vacate his title. And a couple days later, he vacates his title. The UFC probably told him like, yo, if you want to move up, man, we're not doing this champ stuff anymore. And Islam's probably like, yeah, okay, I get it. I do want to be welterweight champion. I already beat some of the guys at lightweight. None of the other fights really interest me. I'm just going to stay at welterweight. And Islam staying at welterweight is kind of crazy because we thought it was probably going to be a one-off or he'll have a few fights there and then move back to lightweight. But no, he's actually staying at welterweight. How big is he going to be? We have no idea. But the Jack Della Maddalena fight is going to be so good. I'm going to make a breakdown on it because I think Jack has a real chance of winning that fight. And imagine if he does win, that Islam is beltless, which makes the decision of moving up for the next belt a risk. Now champions have to decide, do they want to just keep their belt and defend as long as they can, just like the legends did? Or do they want to vacate their belt to claim greater glory? Is a decision some of these champions have now. Ilia Topuria vacated and moved up. What if he loses to Oliveira? Then he will be beltless. Same now with Islam. We have both the featherweight and lightweight champions who made the same move, although one of them has 4 title defenses, the other one has 1. But they both vacated and moved up. And it's funny because those are the 2 champions that the fans wanted to see fight, and now it looks like it's never going to happen. Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria may never happen, as they both have just moved up to their next weight class. Now, there's nothing stopping them, I think, from moving back down and fighting for the undisputed title, but they'll be the challenger, right? If Ilia beats Charles, what if Islam wants to move back down to lightweight, but then he would have to vacate his welterweight title? I think Ilia is going to stay at lightweight, and I think Islam is going to stay at welterweight, and I don't think they're going to fight each other. But it's all good because the Jack fight is great. The Ilia and Charles fight is great. We get to see how good Ilia actually is in the lightweight division because the only time we see him in the UFC fight in that weight class was against Jai Herbert, and he almost got knocked out. Now he is way better than that, but that is still the only fight he's had in that weight class in the UFC. We've never seen Islam at welterweight before, while in the UFC, of course, and I think Islam will adjust to welterweight better than Ilia will to lightweight, but we'll see. We don't know for sure. He looks like he's big enough to do it. He's the same height as some of those guys, where he's 5'10", Jack's 5'11". As for Ilia, he's short, 5'7". That's very short for lightweight. He's practically going to be the same size as like Rafael Fiziev, and Fiziev is looked at as a small fighter for the lightweight division. So very interesting news for Islam Makhachev, but we now know what the UFC 317 card looks like, and this is the International Fight Week card. It's a good card. Ilia Topuria is fighting Charles Oliveira in the main event for the undisputed lightweight title. An amazing fight. Alexander Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France as the co-main event for the flyweight title. Great fight. Should be a fun one. And then we got Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov, which is a great striking match. And Costa definitely needs a win, but I don't know if these fights are in order because I'm pretty sure Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape should be the 3rd last fight, right? That's an amazing fight. And if Kape wins, he should get a title shot. But Neil Dariush versus Renato Moicano should be a good fight as well. Would be amazing to see them grapple as they're both high level there, but maybe Dariush fights in the way he fought Gamrot. Defends the takedowns and beats him in the striking. But Moicano could outstrike Dariush as well. That's an interesting fight. Jonathan Deniz versus Justin Tafa is a knockout for sure. The Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. That's a solid fight. Vivian Araújo versus Tracy Cortez. Yeah, it's a good fight. But so far, that is the card. They're not done with it yet, but so overall, I'll say the card's like a 7 out of 10. And the main reason is because the main event is so good. If that was like a regular title fight main event without Ilia Topuria in there, it probably dropped to like a 5 or 6 out of 10 for a pay-per-view. Because let's be honest, it's a good card. But for International Fight Week, after 2 pay-per-views that were not stacked, we did expect the UFC to stack this card with big fights, and honestly, it's not. Paulo Costa's fun, Roman Kopylov is fun, Renato Moicano, Beneil Dariush, Justin Tafa might be on a main card, which is crazy. Hermanson Rodriguez is okay. Araújo Cortez, Deniz Tafa, like all these fights are they're good, they're entertaining, but those are not the kind of fights that are going to stack a card. Royval and Kep, though, is a great fight. That's the kind of fight that we want to see throughout that main card. But honestly, it's the last 3 fights that are very interesting. So Ilya versus Charles is a big fight. Pantoja versus Kara France is a big fight. Royval versus Kep is a big fight. The other fights are just fun. And if we're paying $80 to watch it, I wanted to see like an actual stacked card here for International Fight Week, right? Like they should have Justin Gaethje on this card versus Arman Tsarukyan. Why isn't that on there yet? And in other news, the main event of UFC 319 is now official. On August 16 of 2025, Dricus Du Plessis is going to be fighting Khamzat Chimaev in Chicago, one of the biggest fights of the year. It's actually one of the 3. Right? There's like 3 big fights that fans wanted. Either Islam versus Ilya, Jones versus Aspinall, and Dricus versus Khamzat. Well, now one of them is official. Dricus versus Khamzat is going to be insane, but we already know they're going to be up in the prices of those seats a lot. I would say go to it for sure. I mean, it's one of the best fights they could possibly even put on, but it might cost like an arm and a leg to watch that fight in person. Great fight. We've talked about it enough. Once we get closer to it, I'll probably make more of a breakdown on Khamzat's chances and Dricus' chances of winning and my predictions for the card. I hope that card is also stacked, but the big question out of all of this, yet again, is where is Jones versus Aspinall? Once again, because we have the main event for a pay-per-view all the way to UFC 319 in August with no Jones versus Aspinall. Could it be that they're waiting to do it in November for Madison Square Garden or something? But we don't even know because Tom Aspinall just came out and said that he's tired of waiting for Jones and he just wants to fight at this point. And I don't blame him. Jones is doing what Conor did to Chandler. Like, isn't it crazy that Islam and Ilya had to vacate their belts in order to move up by wanting to also fight? Like, these guys are actually getting in there and fighting, but they have to vacate their belts, understandably. But Jones can hold on his belt and fight guys like Stipe and pick and choose whenever he wants to fight while keeping his belt at the same time. And Dana said that he will announce that fight soon. But then why not just announce it if it's already done? He's making it seem like the fight's done and they're just waiting to announce it or something. If he's not announcing it now, then what's the point? Like, why is he telling us he will announce it without announcing it, right? It seems like the fight is not done. It seems like they still need to get Jon Jones on board. And Jones, for some reason, most likely because of the fighter pay, is not taking the fight. Dude, give him the 30 mil. It's the fight the fans want to see. If Deontay Wilder can make 30 mil, if Francis Ngannou can make 20 mil fighting in boxing, why can't Jon Jones get 30 mil? Pay the guy the money. Let's get this fight going. The company has billions of dollars. What's 30 mil to them? Nothing. This is now like the 10th time Dana said he will announce the fight. More double standards for Jon Jones. The guy can just keep his belt as long as he wants without fighting. There's an interim champion in his own weight class, and that guy could defend his belt first, while Jones goes and gets these legacy fights. These other champions have to vacate their belts, even though they are still fighting, while Jones just waits and holds on to his belt, and that's it. He can do whatever he wants. It's crazy, but good fight news altogether. The UFC 317 card is solid. It's a good card. It's good that they're not doing the double champ stuff. They should just leave it for like special occasions. Again, like the idea of Anderson versus GSP. Great fight between Dricus and Khamzat. It's amazing to see that it's official finally, and that is probably the biggest fight of the year so far. What do you guys think? Is Dricus versus Khamzat bigger than Islam versus Jack? I think it actually is. Even though Jack is a better fight for Islam than Ilya was, I think Ilya was still the bigger fight. I think more people wanted to see that. Just because both were champions, Ilya knocked out Volkan, Max, and it's the whole legacy with it, but with Jack, he just became champ, and we don't know if he's dominant enough to beat the other guys. Whereas with Ilya, he beat Volkan Max. It just shows that he might be the best fighter there, and nobody else is going to beat him. So might as well just have him fight Islam, a fight between two of the pound for pound best fighters in the world. I do think Islam fighting Jack is not going to be as big as Dricus versus Khamzat, even though it's a super fight. Dricus versus Khamzat is going to feel like the UFC finally hit the nail on the head with a fight that the fans wanted, which is not the most regular thing that they do anymore. But and what do you guys think about the fight so far? Do you like the International Fight Week card, or would you guys make it better? And what do you think about the whole seemingly removal of double champ fights? And I'll see you guys in the next video.